Okay, now that we know the methods that we can use to gain access to WPA enterprise networks, in this lecture, I want to show you the more advanced method, the one where we create a fake WPA enterprise network. So the first method, like I said, it just uses a traditional fake access point, and I covered this before in details. I covered each aspect of running this attack in details so that you can adapt it to any scenario. And this is a perfect example where you can't use tools like Fluxion and Wi-Fi Fisher, and you'll have to do it manually, and I covered how to do it manually before. That's why I'm going to be covering the more advanced method in this lecture. So I'm going to go to Kali, and the first thing that I'm going to do is I'll need to install a modified version of host APD. So we used host APD to generate the normal fake access point. Now there is a modified version called host APD WPE, and that version of host APD is designed to run a fake access point with WPA enterprise with free radius server. So first of all, I'm going to have to update my sources. So I'm going to do apt-get update. Now that my sources are updated, I'm going to do apt-get install, followed by the program that I want to install, which is called host APD WPE. So we always use apt-get. We're just telling it to install, and the package name or the program name, it's called host APD WPE. I'm going to hit enter, and that will automatically download the program, all the needed packages, and configure it for me. Okay, now that's all done. So I'm going to clear the screen. And the next thing that we want to do is very similar to what we used to do with host APD. We want to modify its configuration. So to do that, we're going to do leafpad, which is my text editor. And I'm going to put the location of the configuration file. And that's stored in etc host APD WPE. And again, host apdwpe.conf. So we're doing leafpad, which is our text editor, and then we're giving it the location of the configuration file for host apdwpe. I'm going to hit enter. And the main things that you want to make sure are set correctly is, first of all, the interface. This is your wireless adapter. So in my case, it's actually called LAN 0. If you don't know what it's called, you have to do ifconfig, as you should know by now, and then you can get the name of it. The next thing that I want to modify is the SSID. This is the name of the fake access point, and it's set by default to be called host APD WPE. Now, my target is called company network. So I'm going to call this company network as well, because as you know, this is an evil twin attack. So you want the fake access point to have the exact same name as the target access point. So we're calling it company network. You can also modify the channel in here if you want, but I'm going to keep that the same. And I'm actually going to leave everything else here the same. Now, if you scroll down, you'll actually see after this point, and it says it here in the comment, everything that comes after here is literally just a normal host APD configuration. So like I said, this is just a modified version of host APD, which is modified so that it can use WPA enterprise with free radius server. So I'm going to save this, Control S, and quit it, Control Q. Okay. Now we're done. We're ready to run the attack. But before we do that, like we did with host APD, we have to stop the network manager because it's managing my wireless interface, and if it stays running, it won't let me use it to create a fake access point. So I'm going to do service, network manager, stop. This will stop the network manager for me, and now I can run the fake access point with WPA enterprise. To do that, we're going to do host APD WPE, followed by the location of the configuration file, which is in etc host APD WPE, host apdwpe.conf. So this command is actually very similar to the host apd command that we used to use. You just put the name of the tool, followed by the location of the configuration file. I'm gonna hit enter. And as you can see right now, it's telling me that the network is working. It's broadcasting under the name company network. And now you can just go ahead and run a deauthentication attack. As I showed you before, you can deauthenticate all clients or some clients, again, as shown before. Clients will not be able to access their network. They won't be able to use their network. So they'll think, oh, maybe I can just connect to the other company network. So let's go to a Windows machine and see what we have. So I have my company network in here. I'm going to connect to it. And I'm going to put my username as Zaid and my password as 1234 ABCD. I'm going to connect. Now this is just a warning saying that if you expect to see this network, then connect to it, otherwise don't. Most people will just connect to it because, like I said, WPA Enterprise is usually used in large organizations, so people are used to see a number of routers and connecting to a number of routers. And if you run a deauthentication attack and they can't connect to their own router, then there is a very high chance of them trying to connect to the other router or to the other access point that has the exact same name that they're used to. Therefore, I'm going to click on connect. Now it's saying it can't connect to this network because I actually used the wrong username and password anyway. But if we go to the Kali machine, you'll see that we captured the username, we captured the challenge, and we captured the response. Now I know this is not the password that I put, so you still can't see 1234 ABCD, and that's because the password is encrypted. That's why I said the basic evil twin method that we showed before has an advantage over this method because the password will be sent in plain text over HTTP. The problem with that method was the login screen wasn't very convincing. With this method, you'll get a proper system login box because we are implementing a proper WPA Enterprise network, so there's nothing fake about it. The only problem is, because this is a proper WPA Enterprise network, the password will be sent based on the authentication method used, which is a challenge response method where the router sends a challenge and then the client sends a response based on that. Now in the next lecture I'm going to talk more about this, and I'm going to show you how to crack the response and get the key for the network. But for now, our attack is done. We managed to capture the username and the hash for that password, and in the next lecture I'm going to show you how to crack that password.